Hello everyone and welcome to What Culture. I'm Josh, joined as ever by Zoe Miskelly because we have just gotten out of Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, and I'm gonna level with you guys. I actually really love this movie. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. I thought the trailers were quite good. I had some cautious optimism, but I've never really enjoyed DC's output. And I sat down and I was kind of blown away. We're going to jump into spoilers at some point, but these are just our general thoughts at the moment. Zoe, what did you think?
Well, the thing was, when the first trailer came out, I was like, this is a film I've wanted for a long time, right? I have a lot of strong feelings towards the Birds of Prey, towards Harley Quinn. There were a lot of the stuff that I watched and read when I was growing up and becoming a little comics nerd. Going from a little comics nerd to a still quite
moderately
small,
sized comics nerd.
Small but older. So I was very nervous about it because the first trailer did seem very just like, oh, it's going to be a film, and there might be colors, but there might not.
That's a good description of the trailer, to be fair.
So I was very nervous when we went. Sat down, got some popcorn because I was like, worst comes to the worst. I've eaten some fun foods.
You have a good time.
Oh my, did I stop smiling?
I don't think you did. This is the happiest I've ever seen Zoe. There are multiple points which we'll get to where hands were like just out of the seat, mouth was on the floor. It was quite a sight to behold. It was almost as enjoyable to watch your reactions to the film as it was to enjoy the film. Obviously this is the movie about Harley Quinn teaming up with the titular Birds of Prey to, essentially take down all of the bad dudes in their life, for lack of a better term. Harley Quinn has just broken up with the Joker in spectacular fashion.
She's been broken up with.
Well, she's been broken up with. She tries to play it cool, but she's been broken up with. And then essentially, now that she isn't under the protection of the Clown Prince of Crime, everyone in Gotham who doesn't like her now has, she's no longer under the protection, so they're all after her, including Roman Sionis, aka the Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor. And I guess we'll just jump straight into it because for me, the dynamic between Harley Quinn and Black Mask was that was fantastic. Both Margot Robbie and Ewan McGregor are just having the time of their lives in this movie. They both just get it. I think obviously Margot Robbie is a producer on the film as well, and I think both of them get the exact tone they're going for. And for me, the film is at its strongest when it's focusing on both of those. And I think this is very much, even though it is a team-up movie, it is very much, I think, a Harley Quinn movie. Everyone else gets their own time to shine, but she narrates the film. It's it kicks off and ends with her. And would you not agree?
It's a mixed one, right? Because I would say that the center of focus is Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
But also, there's a reason the center of focus is Harley Quinn, and that's because a wider audience will want to see Harley Quinn. The Birds of Prey are amazing, and they're all done really well.
Yeah.
But I think if it had been a film just about them, it would have lacked something.
Absolutely, and I think they strike the balance quite well because we start with Harley, obviously, then they slowly introduce the rest of the heroes in interesting ways, because I was kind of expecting it to sort of be an instant team-up where it takes more or less the entire film for everyone to kind of get together, and even that more or less doesn't last. It's on shaky grounds, it's a fragile alliance, but I do think the comparisons are always going to be there with Suicide Squad, because to me, this is what Suicide Squad should have been. It has a lot of the same elements. It has the color, it has the irreverent humor, and now it has, it's as sweary and as violent as Suicide Squad should have been, but this does it better. For me, Suicide Squad was all style over substance, and for me, the style wasn't even that good, whereas this really does have the characters you care about that are well drawn, that aren't just sort of introduced via pop music and then sort of ignored. I think, I don't know, I feel like it's just what that movie should have been, and that might sound like a bit of a negative because I know people don't like that film, but that did have so much potential, and for me, this is like an entire do-over, an entire kickstart, because everyone loved Harley Quinn from that film, and now here she is in a movie that is, justifies her talents, as it were.
Well, I think the thing about Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad is that she's played very well by Margot Robbie, but also because the film is perhaps not an exercise in good writing.
Some would say.
It comes off as awkward and clunky because there's no way for her to just totally be like, I've made the film good just by magic. And I think this really showed when she gets to grips with it, because you can tell she really cares about the character, how well it can be. Mm-hmm. Because although everyone else does do a very good job, except possibly Bruce the Hyena.
We'll get to Bruce the Hyena.
Whose animation was possibly where the budget...
The most wasted character in this. I was so looking forward to Bruce Wayne the Hyena, and sorry guys, but he's barely in it. He's in like 2 scenes, and I wanted that hyena to rip someone's throat out, and it never came, and I was very upset.
It was the one letdown.
I do think you make a good point. Although Harley Quinn was the standout character of Suicide Squad, here Margot Robbie especially, she gets just more to do. She obviously has the the energetic performance that made her such a standout before, but now she has like real sort of emotional gravitas. There are really genuinely moving emotional scenes with Harley Quinn at the center of them, and it reminds you that underneath it all, like, there is a human there. It's not just a cartoon sort of brought to life, although it is that. There is real character to it, and I don't think the movie would have worked had they not found that sort of core of who she is. And I think that is a testament to Robbie's just ability as an actress.
Yeah.
Like, she is so great. I actually got shades of Tonya in this. There are moments where she's sort of looking directly into the lens, and she's pulling these manic, crazed, emotional faces. And it's like that bit in Tonya when she does the same thing in the mirror, and I thought that was awesome. And it's, again, she is the backbone of the film, but at the same time, you are right in that everyone else is, necessary and supported, and it's just a well-structured film, I thought. It's got a really interesting structure where, because Harley Quinn's telling the story, it jumps back and forth through time. It's not a linear thing. And that is quite jarring at first, especially when things are viewed out of order and you kind of sat there a bit confused thinking, did I miss something? And it's just the way it's told. But what do you think about that framing device? I
thought it was very, very clever, because I think we haven't really seen cleverness with playing with plots. I think a lot of superhero films try and play it safe, try and play it linear. I loved it in Endgame, even though it wasn't the best use I've ever seen of it.
Yeah.
I think after the Joker's success, there'll be a lot more like allowance for creativity. But yeah, the 2 things I really liked were the structure, because it's almost a heist film.
It is, in a way, yeah.
And I also really liked, you've just reminded me, Harley Quinn is not sort of the quintessential character you'd expect from this kind of film, because a lot of the female characters in this, and also in a lot of superhero films, they're always kicking ass, they can beat anyone, they're so powerful. Harley Quinn does not have superpowers in this.
Yeah.
She gets her ass kicked a lot.
Yeah.
She's drunk, she's thrown up, she's having a bad time, but that makes it so much better because she's not perfect. And her struggles aren't like, oh, I have these superpowers and I struggle so hard. Her problems are like, I've had a bad breakup, I might be an alcoholic, and also I don't have any morals. It's very engaging.
I love that. I knew I was in safe hands because at the very beginning when the Joker breaks up with her, from the trailers you sort of get the impression that she's the one doing the breaking up and that she's going to be fine without him. She's ramming that vehicle into Ace Chemical, she's blowing it up. But that's not how they play it. They play it where she's sort of a wreck and she's kind of misses him and she's sort of in this, manipulative relationship, and she doesn't bounce back straight away. And I thought that is great. That is so truthful. I want to see all superheroes and supervillains go through this grieving process of a relationship and come out like a mess. You're going out to the club, you're drinking, you're breaking dudes' legs. I mean, don't we all do that when we've been broken up with?
It's so violent.
It's so violent.
Good violent.
That's a good segue, actually, Zoe. Yeah, this movie's action is not what I expected to see. I thought because it's a riskier project,
and
it's got a smaller budget, and it's a 15, it's a R in the USA. I expected, I didn't expect as much of it, but for the first half especially, it's just one action scene after the other, and they're all incredibly inventive, well shot, and brutal. And I think that's both a testament to Kathy Yan's direction, but the director of John Wick 2 and 3 was also the second unit director, so I assume that he brought some of the choreography to this, because there was at one point where she was like breaking bones and breaking spines, and I thought I was like, this is just John Wick. This is John Wick in the superhero universe, and I'm here for it. And then I found out that he was involved, and I thought, that makes so much sense.
That makes so much sense. But yeah, there's also an especially creative fight scene towards the end in a funhouse. Yeah. I think bits have been leaked, but the bit with the hair tie, where she offers her hair tie and she ties her hair up, I thought that would be the best bit. It's not. It's like the lowest of the best bits in the entire scene.
That's what I love. Again, I keep saying that's what I love the most about it, because I love so much about this movie. I love that although the action comes thick and fast, it never really feels sort of stale or redundant or kind of like they're just trying to keep your attention, because there are character moments, so many character moments woven in with it. And I just think they are so interestingly choreographed. For me, the biggest praise of this movie is I've not seen a Kathy Yan movie before this, and yet it had such personality to it. It wasn't just a gimmicky film that would throw up, freeze frames and then explain characters' backstories like Suicide Squad did. It did that in a way that was interesting and visually, creative, and it's tied everything back to the script. I think the script is very tight. Everything that is brought up is paid off by the end, and it does make that structure work because it's not just a weird structure for the sake of having a weird structure. It all informs, an ultimate payoff that is, by the end, very satisfying in my opinion.
And I would say also it's a very clever way to let all the characters have their moment. Because if it was linear, I do think you'd have that sort of Suicide Squad compulsion to be like, he is this character, he is this character. But it's quite nice because especially when we go back to seeing Ewan McGregor, he's just phenomenal. He's just swearing and angry. He's just such a spoilt child.
He's like
so well done.
Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood if he was a supervillain. He's so grandiose and verbose and is so good. I like where they go with his story as well because he's the most sociopathic, evil, rich dude ever. In he hates women, he hates anyone who he thinks is demeaning him.
And he thinks everyone is demeaning him.
And if you cross him, he will literally cut your face off. It's moments like that where you see Victor Saz pull someone's face off and you're just like, what movie am I in? Because I love it and I'm enjoying it. The relationship between Saz and Sionis is so funny and so kind of weirdly tender. They have this bromance that's going on.
They have brunch.
They have brunch together, and they're just sort of chilling. They're just two dudes vibing, but at the same time, they're both complete maniacal sociopaths who need to get this diamond and will do anything for it. And it leads to the sort of biggest pop, like you said, at the end in the funhouse. The payoff to all of these threads in that villain story, I think, works. For me, Ewan McGregor's Black Mask is one of the more interesting DC villains that I've seen in a while because it feels so human. It's almost like you forget you're watching a superhero film for a lot of it. For better or worse, I am coming at it from a slightly different point of view than you because I don't know much about the source material, so I don't know what they've changed or what they've altered, but it made me want to know more about these characters.
I mean, we can't all be huge dorks like me.
We can't all be huge dorks, sadly enough.
But I really liked it even with the source material because I've always thought Black Mask is a very interesting character who's very much delegated to being like, we need someone and we've used the Joker too many times. This plan wouldn't work for the Riddler. I'll just put Black Mask in.
Yeah.
Whereas this made it very, very clear, his backstory is pretty messed up, but also they uses that sort of to decide that he's the epicenter of his universe. And it's interesting because initially you're like, he's just a fun, eccentric villain, Yeah. We've seen a lot of fun, eccentric villains. And then that eccentricity just goes up and up until he starts to become scary.
That's it, yeah, because it's not just sort of what I worried that the film would be is just kind of fluffy without any real dramatic weight to it, but Black Mask has these eccentricities and is at some points quite laughably childish, but that only serves to undercut the actual horror of when he is in a powerful position and you realize what he's capable of, and I think both of those elements trade off each other quite well. You mentioned the Joker there. Before this movie came out, there was a lot of speculation whether he was going to have a cameo. He doesn't at all, which is weird because I'm sure that there's a set photo out there where you can kind of see him. I think that's for the best, and I think that it's best that this movie in general stays away from the rest of the DC universe.
Yeah.
For the most part, there are references to Suicide Squad in there, and there are obviously this is a spin-off, so it does directly reference that story, but at the same time, Batman doesn't show up, Superman doesn't show up. It's very much its own standalone thing. It only really feels like a superhero spectacle towards the very end when some powers do start coming out and it's not just people with baseball bats beating the ever-lovely crap out of other people with baseball bats. Zoe, we haven't even talked about Cassandra Cain. We're running out of time, but that's also another MVP of this movie. The relationship between Harley Quinn and Cassandra Cain, I love that. I want to see the next movie just be those people on a road trip with Bruce in the back seat, living their best life. It's all I want from this film.
Well, it made me realize we've seen a lot of films where it's like a superhero raising an apprentice or any kind of big, powerful character raising an apprentice, but they're always dudes.
Yeah.
Whereas I was like, this is the perfect sort of female version where it doesn't feel forced or anything. I very much liked Cassandra Cain. I thought she was very well done in that she went on a much more human direction than I thought they were going to go with. I was very worried about her. It felt very much like the relationship me and Ash have.
A little
on
bit.
A level.
You know what? There was a moment. I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but there was a part where Margot Robbie is with Cassandra Cain. Well, Harley Quinn is with Cassandra Cain. We both looked at each other and went, "Does Harley Quinn seem a bit like Ash, like you in this scene?" We both kind of went, "Yeah." How are they the same person? Maybe. There's less leg breaking when it comes to Ash, but that was quite funny. Why do you want to see this sort of, because it ends on an open-ended note with the Birds of Prey doing their crime-fighting thing, and Cassandra Cain and Harley Quinn, and Bruce going off to live in the sunset, essentially. Do you want to see a direct sequel to this? Do you want to see another spin-off in the same vein, or where do you think this, where do you think the DC universe will take us going off the end of this movie?
I'm very much happy to see what happens. I hope that it gets, because it's gotten good reviews thus far, I hope people go to see it because it's so worth seeing. It's such a redemption of DC.
Yes.
I think if they wanted to keep going with it, I'd be very happy with that. But obviously, Harley Quinn doesn't actually have that many comics with the Birds of Prey. So if they also wanted to try and mix it up a little, I would not mind that whatsoever. Yeah. Because they do have so much comic material to go off and so many villains. How do you feel, sort of, without the dorkiness?
I don't know. I would like it to be a standalone thing. I think it's cool that Harley Quinn can just sort of go from movie to movie and just act as the backbone of it. I like that idea.
Just a little tagline of and also Harley.
Yeah, and also Harley Quinn. this is also a Harley Quinn movie. But I think this is a surprisingly glowing review. I didn't expect to enjoy this much, but I don't know what you guys think down in the comments below. Have you seen Birds of Prey? Are you looking forward to seeing Birds of Prey? I want to know what you guys think. And as always, can you give us a like, share, subscribe, and please head over to whatculture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't know, I've been Josh. This has been Zoe. We have just seen Birds of Prey, and we will see you soon. Bye. We didn't even talk about how good the explosion part was at the end. That was the biggest. That's the most satisfying villain death of all time, I think. A grenade off the side of a thing. Boom. Dead. Done.
You don't even expect it.
You don't expect it.